Hey guys, welcome back. So for today, you are looking at lesson 9. Slopes don't have to be positive. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So up until now, most of our slopes have all been a positive slope. Now we're going to look at some negative slopes. So Noah put $40 on his fare card. Every time he rides public transportation, $2.50 is subtracted from the amount available on his card. How much money in dollars is available on his card after he takes 0 rides? Well, if he hasn't taken any rides, he's still going to have his $40. After 1 ride, well, 40 minus 37.50. So 40 minus 250 is going to give us 37.50. Now, if we take our 37.50 and subtract another 250 from it, that would give us 2 rides, which would be $35. So after X rides, it's going to be 40 minus 2.5X. So there is our graph or our equation to represent the situation. So now we want to graph the relationship between the amounts of money on the card and the number of rides. Let me zoom this in nice and big. So after our starting amount we said was 40, so that was 0 rides. After 1 ride, it's 37.50. After 2 rides, it's 35. After 3 rides, we don't know, but we know we're going down by 250 each time, and we're going up. Our scale here is 250, $2.50. So we're just going down for each one of these. Keep going. So we're seeing all these different rides and amount that is left on his card. All right, so there we have our graph, our line. Now, how many rides can Noah take before the card runs out of money? So if we look at our graph, when does he have $0? 16 rides. So 16 rides. We can see this at the point 16, 0 on the graph. So that was a negative slope. Sorry, I scrolled past. So we were going down and to the right. So it is possible to have negative slopes. It just means instead of going up and to the right, we're going down and to the right. So we can still calculate our slope triangle. We can do it very easily. It's right there. But we do have those negative slopes. All right, travel habits in July. Here is a graph that shows the amount on Hans' fare card for every day of last July. Describe what happened with the amount on Hans' fare card in July. So notice, this is just a horizontal line. So the amount was, well, what's our Y value there? $20 every day. Never changed. So this is what we call a constant. So sometimes we don't have a change. Sometimes there is no change. It's just a constant. So if we look at 3 points, so here's a point, here's a point, and here's a point. 3 random points that are on our line. You could pick any point along that line. So our first point is 0, 20. Second point is 5, 20. Third point is 14, 20. Now remember, X comes first when we write ordered pairs. So we want to write an equation. Well, is there a slope? If we take 20 minus 20, what happens? We get 0. So our equation is just Y equals 20. There's no X value because no matter what, it's always 20. So what value makes sense for the slope of the line that represents the amount on Hans' fare card in July? 0. There is no change. So sometimes we can have 0 slopes. That's completely possible. So we can have positive slopes, we can have negative slopes, we can have a slope of 0, which is just a horizontal line. So lots of different kinds of slopes we can have. So slope is your keyword for this lesson. All right, payback plan. Elena borrowed some money from her brother. She pays him back by giving him the same amount every week. The graph shows how much she owes after each week. Answer and explain your reasoning for each question. What is the slope of the line? So if we look, here we are at 17, and we go down 1, 2, 3 over 1. So we have a -3 slope. Now, for number 2, how do you know whether the slope is positive or negative? So it's negative because it goes down to the right. And it's because it's negative because the amount owed is decreasing as the time increases. For number 3, what does the slope represent in this situation? So it's the amount she pays back. Now, how much did she borrow? So if we look up here, or I guess actually that's 18, isn't it? So it's at 18. I said 17 earlier, but that is the point 18 because here's our 15, 16, 17, 18. So our y-intercept is how much she borrowed. So $18, as we can see from 0, 18. And how much time will it take for Elena to pay back all the money she owes? So when is our y value 0? After 6 weeks, which we can see from the 0.60. So when we're dealing with graphs, and especially when they're based on situations, it's important to understand what the axes represent in order to answer questions like these. So we use that graph to answer these different questions. Yes, we could have done it without the graph, but the graph gives us that visual that helps us in solving problems like these. So understanding what your x and y values represent and not just knowing, oh, that's x, this is y. What does it represent in terms of the situation? That's very important to understand. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.